out, Gary? Good. Not much. Listen, where's Karen? Oh, she's somewhere around here. Okay, thanks.
Hi, Gary.
Hi. What's that for? Oh, it's nothing. Listen, Victor, have you seen Karen?
Oh, yeah, I think I saw her go in the kitchen.
Thanks, Vic.
Sure.
I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. 'Cause here we are back where we were before. Seems nothing ever changes. We're back to being strangers, wondering if we ought to stay or head on out the door. Just once, can we figure out what we keep doing wrong? Why we never last for very long? What are we doing wrong? Just once, can we find a way to finally make it right? Make the magic last for more than just one night. If we could just get to it, I know we could break through it.
All right, the clip that you just seen was from a movie entitled The Last American Version. It came out in the 80s. Very classic movie in my eyes. It was actually a remake of a movie in Israel called Lemon Popsicle or something. And, and that original version I heard is pretty racy like the remake, but still a good movie. But the reason why I played that clip was to go along with the theme of incels. Now, the particular character that came in the room and wanted that chick, and that chick was with his boy, does that make him an incel? Well, let me set this up in context. Throughout the movie, there were three friends that pretty much were cruising for chicks. They pretty much lived to cruise for chicks and everything. And the movie started off fun and whatnot. And the second half, it took on a dramatic turn. Now, the main character, our protagonist, Gary, he was getting some chicks and some victories. But then this other woman comes along and changes the whole dynamic of things. He truly wanted her and whatnot, but she ended up getting with his best friend. And make a long story short, the best friend really wasn't treating this girl in the best of light. He treated her like trash and whatnot, and pretty soon they broke up. And Gary took this as an opportunity to get with her. But to make a long story short, his plans to get with her really didn't work because she was still pining over Gary's boy. And that particular scene at the end, she ended up getting back or reconciling with Gary's boy, whose name is Rick. Rick, that's his name. And the girl's name is Karen. So Rick ended up getting back with Karen. Gary was heartbroken and he ran out the room to his whip and was crying on the way home, and cue the credits. Now, is Gary an incel because he couldn't get that chick? I mean, is he an incel because he couldn't get Karen? Well, from an outside point of view, some would indicate that Gary is an incel because he was going around crying and pining for Karen. And Karen kind of did give him some interest, but it was in a mixed signal way. She wasn't completely honest or transparent with him. Because truth be told, fellas, girls ain't gonna be that way. The emotions change like channels on a TV set. You really don't know what kind of show you're gonna watch. The tone of the program changes from one scene to the next. So it's important for you to know these things moving forward. Gary didn't know this. And yeah, they were in high school and whatnot, and they were still growing, so they didn't know this either. That's not to excuse the actions of all of them, but Gary is as much at fault as Karen is and as Rick is. I mean, Rick was a quintessential bad boy, and Gary was a quintessential nice guy. But looking at this movie and everything, this is still relevant today. And it really fits the incel conversation. Because as far as you, a guy wanting a particular chick or wanting this girl to be with him, I think men at the end of the day have to realize that you're not gonna win. You're gonna have more L's before you have some W's. And the trick to get W's is to learn how to take L's and learn from those L's, and so you can bend it and reshape that L into a W. But some of y'all want a particular chick that really isn't crushing on you. She really wants Rick. She doesn't want you. Now, she'll entertain you for a time. She'll even have you as a placeholder. But at the end of the day, she wants to be with Rick. She has no desire or no interest to be with you. So now that you know that, how do you go about solving that problem? One, you do whatever it takes to forget about that particular woman. Now, we live in an age of social media. We live in an age where people either follow each other on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or on Facebook. So if that particular girl is on your Facebook or any social media platform you currently utilize, it's time to delete her from all of those platforms. It's time to even block her from all those platforms because chances are you and her may have mutual friends, so just block her. Secondly, in a real life situation, if she's a girl that you go to school with or a person that you work with, and hopefully it's not a person that you work with because that can have consequences of its own. You want to keep your distance and just keep everything to a work-related conversation. Don't even say hi. Don't even engage in a conversation with her. You can be cordial with her, but don't engage in a conversation. Just, engage when or if necessary, but keep it moving. You want to act like this person is for a better, for better terms and purposes, this person is dead to you. Have a funeral inside your head, but do whatever it takes for you to forget that she existed. And the last part is you're going to have to learn how to move on. You're going to have to learn how to charge her to the game. And another thing is you're going to have to learn how to have social awareness and situational awareness. Being able to read the room and whatnot. I mean, sometimes a chick doesn't really have to blatantly state that she isn't interested. She'll say it in other ways. If she's not really returning your texts or your phone calls, or if you're doing all the calls and everything like that, then she's not interested in you. And that's okay. You're not wasting your time. You pretty much know where she stands. But women will say no in other ways other than the blatant part, or not interested in other ways. And you have to determine that. But your best bet at this case is to charge her to the game and keep it moving. And find yourself a girl that really is feeling you, that really wants to cooperate and is really receptible to you. Now, in the Last American Virgin's case, Gary, there was another girl that was crushing on Gary, and her name was Roxanne. She was a friend. She's a friend of Karen. He could have easily gotten with Roxanne. And I would like to think that off screen that maybe he did, or maybe he tried to get with Roxanne, but Roxanne saw him coming from a mile away and shut that down real quick. So anyway, as far as you fellas crushing on particular women, you have to learn how to move on. You have to learn how to keep it pushing if she's not interested. Yes, you could have your preferences and your standards, but if your preference and your standard isn't interested in you or wants anything to do with you, you're going to have to move on. And if you really like this person and you really care about her, you'd want the best for her. And that is, she's with somebody that makes her happy and makes her feel good. And unfortunately, that isn't you. She wants to be with a Rick, and a Rick make her feel good in her own sick and twisted way, but she's with the person that she wants to be with. You can't asphyxiate and be emotionally attached to her like that, because she detached herself from you already. And we're at the 10-minute mark, so we're going to end this right here. So tell me, audience, what do you think? This is our series on incels, so I hope you're enjoying it. This is Iron Will Media.